Kids here. Today I want to talk to you about the Sage custom loaf, or depending on what country you live in, it's often known as the Breville custom loaf. Let me first of all start by saying that we bought this bread maker ourselves. We weren't given a discount code, or we're not sponsored to say anything or create this video. We just wanted to do this review for you guys. Why did we want to buy a bread machine in the first place? Well, if you follow us here at Saucepan Kids, you'll know that we're pretty passionate about our food, and we try and avoid processed food wherever possible and create our own food from scratch when we can. And bread is no exception, and we've struggled with this a little bit over the last few years. We have actually owned a bread machine ourselves in the past when the kids were a bit younger, but we never really got on well with it. We found it hard to use. The bread often had a peculiar taste or smell to it, and the paddle at the bottom of the bread often left a big hole in it, which meant it was completely unusable in the middle of the loaf, so it was no good. So why did we settle on the Sage custom loaf? Well, we did loads of research as to which bread machine was going to be right for us, and we looked at all the different features that you could get. We looked at the cost and we looked at the size of the machine, and we settled on the Sage custom loaf for many reasons. So let me tell you a little bit about it. So the Sage custom loaf isn't cheap. We paid about £225 for it on Amazon, which is more expensive than other bread makers on the market, but we felt that the features that it offered really justified that cost. And I'll be honest, we've only had it a few weeks, but I'm really pleased with it. And I'd say we're making a loaf maybe every second day. And as we get back into the school term, I can see I'll be using this every day. It is a very industrial looking bread machine, and it's not small, so you do need to allow some space on your kitchen counter. You don't want to put it away in a cupboard because you'll never use it then. There's a really easy to use control panel in the corner where you can determine what kind of bread you want to make, whether it's a basic loaf or a sweetbread, and you can choose your crust setting, whether you want a light, a medium, a dark. And then you can also choose what size loaf you want to make. Now, we always go for the 1 kilo option because that is the perfect size for us to get sandwiches for the 5 of us and a few slices of bread left over. There's also a great window in the top, so you can keep an eye on how the loaf is doing, and the kids love looking through this to see how the bread is kneading. There's a little dispenser here at the back where you can choose to put fruit and seeds in, but when you do this, you have to make sure that the seeds aren't sesame seeds because they tend to fall through. So we tend to use pumpkin seeds or sunflower seeds, but they just add a nice bit of texture to the loaf that you're making. So inside the machine itself, there's a pan that comes out. Inside the pan, there's actually a collapsible paddle. Here it is here. So just when it's finished kneading, it drops down, so you don't get that hole at the bottom. Also, it beeps at you and tells you just before the final rise that you can take the bread out and remove the whole paddle, so it's removable. So one of the things we liked about the Sage custom loaf was that we can customize it. So we can customize the knead and the rise and the bake times and the temperatures. So we're going to have fun experimenting with that in the coming weeks. We might even try a sourdough. You can actually store the recipe book at the back of the machine. I know that sounds like it's not very important, but actually it saves somebody looking for it, then it's always where you need it to be. If you're looking to have fresh bread ready first thing in the morning, then the delay start functionality is going to be really useful. One thing to bear in mind though is to make sure that you put the ingredients into the pan in the particular order, just to ensure that the yeast doesn't touch the liquid. 3 hours since we put our bread into the Sage custom loaf, and now here it is, the finished product. And as you can see, it's a really nice square shape. Other bread machines would make a slightly smaller loaf but much higher. It's not very practical. This is an ideal shape for cutting for sandwiches and for toast. It fits in our toaster perfectly. And as you can see here at the bottom, a very small hole from the paddle. It's not going to cause a problem when I slice it when it's cooled, because it's too warm to slice right now. So if you have any questions about the Sage custom loaf bread maker, please leave a comment below. And if you like this video, please give us a thumbs up. And if you're not already subscribed, please do. See you soon. Hi guys, Debbie from Saucepan Kids here. Today I want to talk to you about the Sage custom loaf, or depending on what country you live in, it's often known as the Breville custom loaf. Let me first of all start by saying that we bought this bread maker ourselves. We weren't given a discount code, or we're not sponsored to say anything or create this video. We just wanted to do this review for you guys. Why did we want to buy a bread machine in the first place? Well, if you follow us here at Saucepan Kids, you'll know that we're pretty passionate about our food.